in the West Bank interviewing Yehuda Shimon, a lawyer with an organization that represents Israelis arrested for violence against Palestinians.
Jews are the only government, the only sovereign. They cannot stay.
So the claim, the presumptions of Daniela Weiss.
We're not just watching another heated television debate. We're watching a question that has divided governments, international organizations, and millions of people around the world. The question sounds incredibly simple. Is one Israeli life worth the same as one Palestinian life? No politics, no history, no military strategy, just one moral question. As Piers Morgan asks it again and again, pay close attention. Watch who answers directly, who hesitates, and who shifts the conversation toward politics and security. Sometimes, the questions people struggle to answer tell us more than the answers themselves. Let's watch.
In the West Bank, interviewing Yehuda Shimon, a lawyer with an organization that represents Israelis arrested for violence against Palestinians. Now, when a top Israeli lawyer says on camera to the BBC that one Jewish life is worth 10 million Palestinian lives and says he knows it's racist to say that, it feels pretty outrageous to the rest of us watching. Were you outraged by what he said, or did you agree with him?
It's an expression that I did not use, so you should ask him about it, and I am responsible for my expressions. So this is not the kind of sentence that I would use.
Would you say that a Jewish life is worth exactly the same as a Palestinian life? That one life is worth the same as another?
I'm sorry, I didn't get the full sentence or the full question. Could you please ask it again?
Would you say, therefore, that one Jewish life is worth the same as one Palestinian life?
It's not, I just said it, but I'm ready to say it again. I know that according to my religion, human beings were created. The human being, the first Adam, was created by God, and all human beings were the result of this creation. So why do you bring me into this channel of comparing one to the other? I respect people of other nations, people of other religions. The only situation where things clash is when other religions, people of other religions or other nations clash with us, with Israel or with Jews. I don't see us attacking others or clashing with others unless they start. And I think it's a well-known thing. So I don't know what corner you are in now. I really don't understand.
Sorry, just to be clear,
the Jewish religion.
Just to be right, but just to be clear, somebody else that follows your religion, Yehuda Shimon, who's a lawyer with a big organization that represents Israelis arrested for violence against Palestinians, he is the one that said a Jewish life is worth 10 million Palestinian lives. I think it's interesting and notable that you don't agree with him, but I'm just asking you in the context of what he said.
I didn't know about it. I don't know the person. And if you want to dwell on this, it's your decision. I have so many things to think about.
No, I'm going to come to other issues, I guarantee you. This is not why we got you on the program, but it is a story that's happened in the last few days. It has caused a lot of outrage. I think it's notable that you don't agree with what he said, but I just want to be quite clear.
No, I don't.
Because you seem to want to give.
I don't agree.
But just to be. No, but am I right in concluding that you believe a Jewish life is worth the same as a Palestinian life, and a Palestinian life is worth the same as a Jewish life? Do you agree with that statement?
I tried to listen to the previous item of your program. It was about men and women. So like what you're asking now about Jews and other people, it reminds me like comparing between a man and a woman. Each individual has his characteristics, his nature, And what is the point of this comparison? I'm a woman.
I don't
you're
understand
a man,
why you
and
can't
I'm
just give me
proud
a
of
straight
what
answer.
I am, and you're proud of what you are. A Jew is proud to be a Jew, and a Muslim is proud to be a Muslim. So what's this comparison?
I understand.
For? And especially,
Well, let me help you.
I explained to you that
Let
I
me
didn't
help
know
you.
about it.
Let me help you.
So
Let me
what-
help you. Let me help you understand. Let me help you understand, because you're clearly struggling
thank
with
you.
this. I think my life is worth the same as your life, and your life is worth the same as
Right.
mine. I'm a Catholic, an Irish Catholic.
Right.
You are an Israeli Jew. All right? I think we're both worth exactly the same. I've asked you twice, and I'll only ask you one more time, but would you agree that a Jewish life is worth the same as a Palestinian life? Yes or no?
I know that you like yes or no question answers.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, yes or no
It's a
question.
very simple question.
But I think that it is like a question, like a question that refers to differences between sexes. What is more, woman or man? Say yes or no.
Well, it's not
Say,
though, is it? It's
one,
not though.
One
It's
clear,
not.
one clear
it's
answer.
not because
I don't want to,
No,
to give
Daniela,
a positive.
Daniela
one
Weiss,
clear
it's
answer.
not the same.
Let me.
It's not the same. It's not the same because you're a woman
Okay.
and I'm a man, but I think we're both worth exactly the same, right? A man is worth the same as a woman is worth the same as a man. So I'm just struggling to
Right.
understand why you can't just say a Jewish life is worth the same as a Palestinian life. Would you agree with that?
I think that all human beings
I know,
are
you've
the
said that
same.
several
but
times.
The point is why. But the point is why you came to this point. Why you're asking me this question? It's on the basis
Well, you know
of
why.
some clash.
I just told you why.
So what?
Daniela Weiss, I told you
Why?
why. Because a senior Israeli lawyer says that a Jewish life is worth
Okay,
10
but I
million
didn't hear-
Palestinian lives. I
I
told
said
you why.
I do not.
I don't understand
I
why you can't.
I do not
You
use.
keep talking about gender and everything else. I'm like, look, it's a very simple question. Do you think a Jewish life is worth the same as a Palestinian life? Yes or no? You either do or you don't.
I think that all human beings were created by God.
I know you do. You've said that many
in
times.
Itself shows that all human beings are the same.
So is a Jewish life worth the
Okay.
same as a Palestinian life? Yes or no?
Now you will ask the same question, and I will give the same answer.
Why don't you want to say yes or no?
Chaviv, in Hebrew we say, Chaviv Adam shenivra betzelem. The nature of our flesh and blood, the nature of this creation is that it is God's creation. Why do you want me to extend on this? Because of clashes?
I just want you to
When
answer
there
a
is
simple
clash,
question.
there
But
is
look,
a clash.
I've tried three.
Someone wants.
With respect, I've
Right.
asked you 3 times a very simple question. You choose not to answer. That's your prerogative.
What you just watched wasn't really a debate about history. It was a debate about morality. When a simple question becomes difficult to answer, people naturally begin asking why. Now the conversation moves into even more controversial territory. The next statement has been shared millions of times online because it raises a bigger question. Can a country protect its national identity while guaranteeing equal rights and dignity for everyone affected by its policies? Whether you agree or disagree, this moment forces people to confront that question head on.
In the land of Israel, the Jews are the only government, the only sovereign. They cannot stay. So either you accept our sovereignty. If you fight us, we fight, and if you do not accept it, you just your item before your interview with me was about Morocco coming to Spain, if I'm not mistaken, but it was a bit not clear. But this issue is going on. So every country every nation wants her country to be country for the people of this nation. And I don't understand how you came to such a confusion about it. We want the Jewish state to be for Jews. It is such an obvious, such a clear, such a universal acceptance. So, okay, I repeat my
the problem
invitation
is,
to you. Come and see
the
it with
problem,
your own
the
eyes.
problem is, it's obvious to you. It's not obvious to the rest of the world who perceive what you're doing in the West Bank to be crimes. But we're going to leave it there. Daniela Weiss,
tell you
thank
about
you
the
for
rest of
coming
the
back on
world.
Uncensored.
The debate is about to become even more intense. Until now, we've heard competing moral and political arguments. Now, two of the most recognized voices on this conflict go head to head, challenging each other's interpretation of history, responsibility, and the evidence itself. This is where opinions collide with historical narratives, and viewers are left to decide which argument stands up to scrutiny.
So the claim, the presumptions of Daniela Weiss are shared across the Israeli spectrum. Benny Morris described the Palestinians as, quote, a sick, psychotic people, quoting him. So the presumptions, the assumptions of Daniela Weiss, they may sound radical to an American viewer, but they are typical of Israeli society, from Daniela Weiss at one end of the spectrum to Benny Morris, who was once Israel's leading historian, at the other end of the spectrum. Just one last word. If you look at the current UN report on the deliberate killing of Palestinian children, they describe many scenes of the settlers. A group of settlers urinating on a child. A group of settlers kidnapping a 4- and 5-year-old child, brother and sister, and tying them to a tree. A bunch of Israeli soldiers, not settlers, soldiers, attacking a 16-year-old who is hearing impaired and kicking him on the ground. And then a group of soldiers attacking a fellow, shooting him. He's on the ground pleading for help. The soldiers stand around laughing, filming the scene, and blocking any medical aid for him. The soldiers, remember, Israel is a citizen army. The soldiers are representative of Israeli society, just like Daniela Weiss at one end of the spectrum and Benny Morris at the other end is representative of Israeli society. It is, unfortunately, it has become a nation of child killers.
Benny Morris, your response to that?
Well, it sounds like a self-hating Jew, Norman Finkelstein, and the woman, Daniela Weiss, is obviously a religious messianic fanatic. I don't think either of them should represent anyone, and they certainly don't speak the truth about most Israelis, as Finkelstein would have it. The Israeli settlers in the West Bank, many of them are behaving illegally, and the government is going along with them and protecting them in various ways, certainly not prosecuting them for committing these crimes more or less on a daily basis in the West Bank, because they ultimately support eventual annexation of the West Bank, and they believe that removing small communities of shepherds serves that purpose, this annexationist purpose. And I, of course, and I think at least half of the Israelis don't agree with this. It doesn't represent the Israeli public, as Ms. Weiss, who's, as I say, a fanatic, doesn't as well. I did use the phrase psychotic, and the Palestinians certainly behaved in a psychotic way during the second Intifada, when they exploded bombs in buses and in streets, and killed over 1,000 Israelis during that second Intifada, that rebellion in 2001, 2002, 2003. But I wouldn't call the Palestinians in general psychotic, but they have behaved very poorly. They're very poorly led. They're divided between one fanatical movement, which is misogynist, the Hamas, misogynist, homosexual, anti-homosexual, homophobic, Jew-hating, they're anti-Semitic, and they hate the West in general, much like the rest of the Islamist world. And here we have a problem which Finkelstein doesn't seem to understand, that the war in Gaza was the first step.
After watching all three clips, one question still remains. If every innocent human life has equal value, why is that such a difficult principle for the world to agree on when this conflict is discussed? History matters. Security matters. The horrific attacks by Hamas matter. The deaths and suffering of Palestinian civilians matter. International law matters. None of those realities erase the others. The hardest part of this conflict isn't choosing which side deserves safety. It's recognizing that justice loses its meaning if compassion is reserved for only one side. That's why debates like this continue to resonate across the world. Not because they settle the argument, but because they force us to ask whether we're judging events by the same moral standard, regardless of who the victims are. So after watching these clips, ask yourself one final question. Did the debate change your opinion, or did it simply reveal what you already believed?